Today I wanted to share how to use the Lightyear investment app. It's an app that I've been using to invest spare business cash in their business account, but Lightyear also offers a stocks and shares ISA, a cash ISA and a general investment account too. Now, after meeting up with the Lightyear team about a month or so ago and resonating with them and their core values and the company's mission, we've decided to partner up on today's video in order to showcase the app to you. But first off, I must inform you that Lightyear is an investment app, so when you are investing, your capital is at risk. The value of your investments may go down as well as up. And if you are unsure about anything, please seek out the help of a qualified financial advisor. All information is accurate at the time of recording this video, but this information could be subject to changes in future, so please be sure to always go and do your own research. So let's start off by talking about who exactly are Lightyear and is your money safe with them. So Lightyear was founded back in 2020 and is actually backed by Sir Richard Branson. They're rated 4.7 on Trustpilot and they're on a mission to create successful investors by providing a slick experience and fair fees in order to make investing light years better. Lightyear are also FSCS protected, so the value of your cash balances is protected up to the value of £85,000, and they're also authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority too, so they follow the CAS rule book, which is a client asset source book, so your assets are segregated from the company's assets. So if in the unlikely event of Lightyear's insolvency, then your assets will be returned to you as the rightful owner. So that's admittedly some of the most important stuff out of the way, so now let's dive into the different account types where there are 4 different options available. First off, you've got the stocks and shares ISA. This account allows investors to invest in things like stocks, bonds and ETFs. There is also something called the Lightyear Vaults feature, which pays 4.57% in interest, but I'll touch upon that in a little bit more detail in just a moment's time. The second type of account is the cash ISA, which allows you to save your money at a current rate being offered at 4.5%. These 2 types of accounts are also tax efficient, so it means that any gains that have been made from either capital appreciation, dividends, or even interest on the money that you have deposited within the account are free from tax. But do remember there are ISA allowances which are capped at £20,000 per tax year as at recording, and that allowance is spread across all of the different ISA accounts that are available. Then there's a general investment account. It does exactly the same as a stocks and shares ISA, with the only 2 core differences being, I guess, in that firstly, it's not a tax efficient investment account, so you will pay tax on any gains that you make above that of your personal allowances from that specific account. And then secondly, you're not capped at that £20,000 a year allowance, so you can invest as much or as little as you please. Then finally, there's the business account, which is the one that I'm personally using Lightyear for, where I'm able to invest some of my spare business cash. Now, users of this type of account can invest in things like stocks, ETFs, and money market funds. However, do be aware that you should definitely consult with your accountant first before you open this type of account, because there are certain rules around this account that you must be aware of. Now, to help you guys get started, Lightyear have kindly offered all of my subscribers 1 free fractional share, which is valued at $15, and it's a US fractional share which you can choose when you open an account by clicking on the link down in the description below. Or when you're inside the app, if you swipe right, then hit the promotions tab, then type in the promo code Mitch. Even if you've opened an account within the past 30 days, you'll still be able to claim that 1 free share once you've deposited £100 into your account. Please remember though that investing carries risk and the value of your investments can go down as well as up. Now, to deposit that first £100 within your account, if you click on the Lightyear tab, scroll down just slightly and you'll be able to click into the cash tab. Then click on deposit funds, and then you have a few different options to play with. There is an easy bank transfer method, which is the one that I'll be personally using, and it's also the recommended option that Lightyear provide as well. But you do have 2 other options in that you can do a bank transfer from your own bank account details, or you can do a debit card transaction, but do be aware that there is a 0.5% top-up fee when you're using a card, Apple Pay or Google Pay. And that comes into play once you've deposited over £500. So let me just deposit that £100 now, and then I'll show you guys 3 things that you can do with it. It does say that the money should be in my account within the hour, but usually only takes a few minutes. So as I said, there are 3 things that you can do with that cash once you have it in your investment account. The first thing is obviously to just hold it in cash, which as of right now you can see is earning me a 3% interest rate on my sterling. And that goes for whether you're in a general investment account or a stocks and shares ISA account. The second thing is to use the Vaults, which is a high interest rate type of investment product that Lightyear have renamed, but it's typically something referred to as a money market fund. Now, to be clear, investing money into a vault doesn't mean that that money is locked up for a set duration of time. Instead, think about it more like an open vault where you can access your money as and when you please. Now, a money market fund is essentially short-term debt which is issued from governments, corporations and institutions that have strong balance sheets and a high credit rating. Now, in the example of Lightyear, they use BlackRock's money market fund, which has a AAA credit rating, which is the highest credit rating that you can get. Meaning it's a low risk fund, but it will provide you with a better return than you would get on cash within this account. But of course, please do bear in mind that this is an investment product and therefore does carry investment risk with it. The interest from the vault is earned daily but paid on a monthly basis, and if you want to activate it within your account, well, if you click into the vaults feature, you can see what the current rate of interest is right now at 4.56%. And then if you click take a look, and then you can press confirm and open vault, but it does also provide you with all of the details of the fund itself, which I'd certainly suggest that you look at when you are doing your own research. So I'm just going to click confirm and open vault, and then it will then give me the option to deposit as much or as little money as I have within that account. So just for the purpose of example, let me just put £10 into the vault, and I'm going to press confirm and we're good to go. The third option is then to invest it, given that this is largely an investment app. Now, before you do so, it's super important that you've gone away and done your own due diligence and your own research, and you're following an investment plan that you're comfortable with, that very much aligned to your own risk appetite and your investment objectives, because of course, when you're investing, your capital is at risk. So let's talk about what those investment options are in a little bit more detail, and I'll show you a little bit more around the app's interface, which in my opinion is probably one of the best that I've seen. So to do that, we're going to click on the search icon. This will bring up all of the available investments within the Lightyear app, where there are over 5,000 different stocks and ETFs which are available. And they've kind of helpfully categorized them in certain ways. So you've got the popular stocks and popular ETFs that you can see are available this week. If you scroll down a little bit further, you've got some of the different funds which they've also categorized into things like money market funds, global funds, regional funds, dividends, etc., etc. And then you've got stocks which you can browse by country, as you guys can see. And then you've got kind of collections, I guess, which are more individual stocks within different sectors within the economy and different categories that I suppose Lightyear have come up with themselves. There is also a stock and fund screener that you can explore on their website, which can help you refine your searches further. Now, one observation that I have made from using this app is where you can see the popular funds this week. You've got the Vanguard S&P 500 and the Vanguard FTSE All World Fund, which are actually denominated in euros, and that's because Lightyear as a platform are extremely popular over in Europe. However, you can also get these funds which are denominated in Great British pounds, and to do that, if you simply click the search bar at the top, and if you just type in S&P 500, again just for the purpose of example, this is not an investment recommendation, you can then see the pound equivalent versions which then pop up. Now, the reason why I point this out, and it's just something to be mindful of, is because if you invest Great British pounds into a euro denominated fund, you're obviously exposed to the FX rate difference on those two individual currencies. So now we've touched on that, now let's talk about some of the features within the app itself. So you can see up on screen, you've got the S&P 500 ETF, where you can change the duration of time, which will share with you different performance of that fund over different time frames, from daily, weekly, monthly, year to date, 1 year, 5 year, and then the maximum returns. It's just a small aesthetic thing, but I actually quite like, with the performance being negative in the last day, the screen actually changes to a red color, and then if you blow it back out to a longer time frame, then it turns back green. If you scroll down a little bit further, you'll be able to see the fund highlights, when the key thing here being the annual fund charges, which is important to know. These are the charges that are taken from the fund manager if you are investing into a fund. So for this one specifically is 0.07%, which if you look at the very small little chart next to it, where it compares this fund fee versus other ETFs, and it actually kind of shows that this is a relatively inexpensive fund to invest in versus other ETFs that are available, which is quite a cool feature to have. If you then scroll down a little bit further, we'll then start to dive into some of those financial metrics with things like the fund size and the dividend yield, which may be important to you, along with what's included within this fund as well. Now, obviously with the S&P 500 fund that we're talking about, it's a weighted index. So actually the bigger portion of that fund is largely the biggest companies on the planet. So companies like Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, etc. But you can also see the total holdings within this fund and the percentage weighting that each of them have. If you scroll down a little bit further, you'll be able to see a little bit more about the fund in terms of what the fund tracks itself. Obviously, in this instance, it's tracking the performance of the S&P 500. You can see things like the ticker symbol, along with two very important documents in the key information document and the cost disclosures document. Be sure to read both of those documents carefully for any fund that you're potentially looking to invest in, to ensure that you're fully aware of the fund, its objectives, risk, rewards, and all that kind of good stuff. Now, in order to buy this fund, just for the purpose of example, you can click on the buy button. Now, because this fund is a non-fractional fund, you must buy whole units when you're making your investments. So as of right now, I can buy one whole investment for £75.76. I can preview that order and it will share all of the relevant information with me, and then I can press confirm and send that buy order to the market. And as you can see, that order has now been fulfilled. Now, in terms of the fees associated with that transaction, well, ETF investing is completely free on the Lightyear app. But when we're talking about individual stock purchasing, well, the fee structure is slightly different. So let me touch on that next. Now, just to show you what individual stock purchasing looks like within the app, if you click on that search icon again, let's just choose Nvidia just because it's the top one on the screen. Within that section of the app, you can see all of the important metrics, so financial metrics, analyst ratings, more financial metrics, and news about that company itself. Along with lots of other important bits of details, which I'll let you guys look at your leisure. Now, to buy shares within the app, you can actually buy fractional shares within the individual stocks. But say, for example, that I just want to buy $15 worth of shares. I'm going to preview that order, and then there's a couple of things that I want to point out to you. The first one being the execution fee, which is 10 cents. Now, for US stocks, it's a 0.1% fee capped at $1. But for UK investments and European stock investments, those amounts are capped at £1 and €1. The other thing to point out is the Great British Pound conversion fee, so the FX fee, which is 4 pennies, which is the equivalent to an FX fee of 0.35%. And obviously those FX conversion fees are only applicable if you are essentially converting your Great British Pounds into another currency in order to buy a stock which is denominated in that foreign currency. Do remember though that transaction fees on smaller transactions do add up, so it's probably worthwhile being mindful of trying to make those fees as smaller a percentage as possible, proportionately to your overall transaction value, in order to make sure that fee impact is kept to an absolute minimum. So I'm going to confirm that order and send that buy order to the market. Now, just in addition to that, when you are buying a UK company, for example, if you're only buying in small transactions, well, you can see here I've only looked to buy one share in HSBC, and if I click confirm order, you can see that there is like a little bit of a error message, if you like, that pops up that says low order value. Just a heads up, this order is made up of an order value of £7.86 and an execution fee of £1, which is 12.72% of the total cost. So what that means is on this specific transaction, I need a 12.72% return on investment just to get back that £1 transaction fee that I've spent. Now, let's say I want to sell one of my positions at some point in the future. I need to come into my portfolio tab. I need to then click into the investment that I want to sell. Let's say in this case, Nvidia. I click on the sell button. I can then click sell max, which will sell all of the shares, or I can enter how many shares I want to sell. I can preview that order, and what's important for me to say here is that that execution fee again applies not just when you buy shares, but when you sell them too. Now, let's say after doing that, I want to withdraw the cash from my portfolio. I just need to click back into my cash pot, and then I can click withdraw. I can then choose which bank account it is I want to withdraw to, withdraw max, or however much that I want to withdraw, press preview withdrawal. It then says that withdrawal is on its way, and it will take about 2 business days. There are a couple of other cool features on the app, such as lightning updates, which is relevant to the stocks that you're interested in or the stocks that you own within your portfolio. Also, you can find other investors within the app, and you can actually connect that to your contact list within your phone and invite your friends to use the app so you can see their portfolios too. And the desktop app is pretty clean as well. But as I've said, I'm just using it for the business account right now, so let me touch upon that next. And if I flick over to the left hand side, you can see the different account types which I have. And I'm now going to click into my business account, which I'm personally using to invest my spare business cash. The interface, as you can see, is exactly the same, but the only difference here being that I'm investing money out of my business account and not my personal account. So this is all still registered within my company name, and it's specifically designed for business owners that have a registered business with Companies House. Now for me personally, I'm using this account, as I said, to invest some of that spare business cash and essentially get a better rate of return on some of my spare money than I would have otherwise been able to get from some other bank accounts, which, to be honest, don't really offer the best rates of interest, especially for business customers. Now I can buy individual stocks and ETFs in this account, but for me personally, I want this money to retain somewhat of a stable value in a low risk investment. And as a result, I've got all of my money right now held in the BlackRock Money Market Fund, which is currently earning me a rate of interest of 4.56%. Now, as I said earlier, this is still an investment product and therefore does carry investment risk with it. So that's something just to be mindful of. And as I said before, be sure to get in contact with your accountant on this before you go on to open the account and make any kind of investments. But when you are talking to your accountant, what's helpful to also know is that in the transactions area at the bottom 3 dashes at the right hand side of your screen, you can click on statements and it will give you a breakdown of your account statement, income statement, and capital gain statement, which you can provide to your accountant so they can work out whether you owe any tax or not. But all in all, I think it's a pretty cool offering, which isn't typically an account that's available with many of the other brokers out there. So that's the Lightyear Investing app. Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are on it down in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you do want to see more financial education content. But before you go, YouTube thinks that you might enjoy watching this video next, so be sure to watch that now. That being said, I'll see you over in the next one.